We need your help. We're obviously going to talk about the best moments of the season, the biggest moments. We want you to get in the comments and let us know what your biggest moments were, because it's been a long season. It's quite difficult to think back to everything that's happened. But what I am going to do is go right back to the start. Jota's goal against Ipswich, first goal under Slot. Ipswich had Liverpool nervous. The story was about Kieran McKenna. Calvin Phillips, I think, had just signed. The vibes were good. Salah then has a lovely run behind Leif Davis, who they were saying in the first half. He's done well. And then Jota scores. And I think at that moment, I was like, we're fine. Yeah. You know, like when you get a new manager, you haven't had that feeling in ages. You get it every single week. Yeah. When you get a new manager, that like feeling of relief, I think, made other people think Liverpool are going to be fine. And I think we spoke after and you said you actually look quite good.
Yeah, because I've had some crazy takes. We don't need to talk about all of them. But I had Liverpool outside the top 4 at the beginning of the season.
Crazy.
And then after watching that first game against Ipswich, where he was proactive, half-time, makes a switch, takes Kwanzaa off, brings on Konate, and you just hear him after the game. I think they did the post-match interview next to the pitch. I was like, yeah, he's got something. And he's got a calming presence. He's not Jurgen Klopp, but the way Liverpool plays is a little bit more conventional, and he carried it on. He had a great start to the season. The only blip was losing against Forest at home. And that goal signified, or that was the start of the Slot era. We'll see how important that goal will be in like 2 or 3 years' time if he continues to win. But I think that kind of told you how things were going to go this year.
And it was like the DNA of his team, like Salah providing Jota from a Trent pass, who obviously won't be there anymore. City have been involved in one major moment for sure, which I don't know how you feel about this now. The stay humble thing. There's a lot of quote tweets on that tweet.
It's been just going back and forth, hasn't it? I think Haaland throwing the ball off Gabriel's head is an unbelievable moment. Was that last season or was that this season? That was this season. Feels like ages ago. That was an unbelievable moment, individual moment. I don't think I've laughed that long in a while. And I think it's nice to have a rivalry with a team that's based purely on football rather than anything else. And I think City and Arsenal have actually created quite a good rivalry. Obviously, Lewis Skelly doing that, and then there's pictures of everyone looking at him, and then City posted pictures of the same thing, but instead of Lewis Skelly, it was an empty box because they haven't won anything again. So I think, honestly, that whole that whole rivalry this season has provided like a little extra element of fun. I think the fact that neither team have won anything and they've both been a massive disappointment kind of takes away from it a little bit. No one can really win there, but I do hope it carries on next season.
Wasn't there a moment where Pep did an interview and Arteta had an interview and they both went back and forth in an interview situation? I can't quite remember what was said.
I can't remember what was said, but they did have a back and forth. It's just like, oh, like the master and the apprentice, and like it's not, they haven't got that relationship anymore in terms of, I don't think they speak anymore. But obviously you wouldn't, because they're managing rival teams. My moment comes from, my biggest moment, it's obviously not a great moment, but comes from an Arsenal or City versus Arsenal game, and that's the Rodri ACL injury. I do fully believe that game ended 2-2, right? City got the last minute equaliser. I think if Rodri doesn't go down with that ACL injury, maybe City don't win the league. But there is no way that City is fighting for a place in the top 5 come the 38th game of the season. He is the Ballon d'Or winner for a reason. If any team in the world loses a Ballon d'Or winner, you're obviously going to be a lot worse. And I think that with how dominant City have been and how important he's been to Man City and to Spain, think about how good he was in the Euros as well. I think the season would look very different in terms of, do you know how we all say it's been a poor season in terms of quality? Rodri is one of the few world-class players in the Premier League, and City have been without him for the whole season.
Do you think you would have won the league with him?
No, I don't think so. And I think the one side aspect which makes me glad a little bit is the fact that Palace won the FA Cup. I think that's a huge moment. The fact that Palace have won a cup, the fact that Newcastle won a cup, and the fact that Spurs have won a cup last night. We've been saying that the Premier League season hasn't been good and the teams haven't been great, but they are 3 fantastic moments for huge clubs. Palace had never won a trophy in their entire existence. We know how loyal their supporters are. Newcastle have been through hell and back. They've won a trophy. Ange Postecoglou says, "I will always win a trophy in my second season," and then he delivers it. And then he delivers it for Spurs' starved of trophy fans. Always get called Spurs and they go and beat Man United. Those 3 moments make everything in this season worth it for me.
I think that's actually, like, to be fair, people are saying it was a bad season. I disagree. Obviously, because Liverpool won the league. But I do think the fact that Newcastle won a trophy, like you said, and Palace won a trophy is good for the league. And we've discussed this quite a lot about like this top 6 that basically doesn't really exist anymore now. Like Newcastle are popping in and out. Aston Villa are now up there. Spurs were in the top 5, top 6 last year. And United haven't been in it for a minute, so I don't really know how they're still considered in there. My moment is Chiesa signing for Liverpool and then scoring against Newcastle. I'm sorry, the producer's fuming because he's banned me from saying Chiesa, but you will not stop me today.
Give it a rest.
The goal against Newcastle, you tell me, did you or did you not celebrate for me that day?
For you, yeah, because you needed something, man. Chiesa,
Did you? I was annoyed.
Yeah.
I saw it and I thought, oh no, we're going to have to listen to another lot of this tripe.
Really quickly, can I just give you another moment?
Yeah.
Again, Chelsea bias. Cole Palmer's 4 goals against Brighton was special because that was a moment where you can admit it if you want to admit it or don't want to admit it. Everyone's like, "Oh wow, this kid is here," and the quality of the goals, the free kick, just the ability to drop a shoulder and beat a man, and those 4 goals came in the first half in a big win for Chelsea. I think that's got to be up there for moment of the season.
That's actually reminded me of Declan Rice's second free kick against Madrid. Like that's a moment because
that was a
when he puts the ball down, he's 35 whatever yards out, and I think we said the day after when we recorded that was always going to be a goal. But when you think about the odds on that ever being a goal, they were probably like 100 to 1. Declan Rice scoring 2 free kicks in the same game, and then from that distance. So that's up there. One more, but I don't really want to talk about this because Liverpool fans are going to get onto me. I've circled it for you to read though. You can't read my writing. It's Everton, Tarkowski, that moment.
What a moment. What a moment. The last derby at Goodison as well. One of the most iconic stadiums in the history of football.
Yeah.
In the 96th minute. And it's a volley as well. Yeah. And the way, do you know, just the sound of the ball hitting the back of the net.
And the net shaking.
That is why you love football.
And it's also aesthetically under the lights, red versus blue. It was perfect. And it's the first time we saw in the season Liverpool look a bit rattled. Schlott was a little bit rattled talking to the referee. Van Dijk saying it's their cup final was a little bit rattled. And it was like, oh, is there going to be a blip here? Obviously, it wasn't because Arsenal are rubbish. But it was a moment in the season where maybe if the other teams that chased Liverpool were a bit better, it could have created the title race.